and this one lady literally sat directly behind me and coughed the entire flight, so that was unsettling. On the way to the bus stop right now to head to the airport. I no longer take the subway to the airport because the air train is just way too costly. And I know you're gonna say something about me not wearing my mask, but I'm about to put it on. It's just difficult for me to talk with my mask on. I haven't taken the bus since this whole corona thing started, so we're gonna see how it goes. So instead of entering the bus from the front and like paying before you come sit down, you enter from this second door, and they have the chains blocking so that you can't sit near the bus driver, just to prevent further spread of the coronavirus. I've never seen JFK this empty. This is crazy.
This flight, we will not be providing any food or beverage services.
We also ask that you follow protocols set forth by the CDC for protective coughing or sneezing. Soap and running water are available in the lavatories for hand washing, which is one of the CDC's top recommendations to help prevent the spread of the coronavirus. We just want to thank all of you for your cooperation and understanding. Welcome aboard.
So can I get a window seat? I want nobody next to me.
Alright guys, I've landed in North Carolina finally. I'm not home yet, but I've got a freaking 5-hour layover in Charlotte, so I'm gonna be here for a while. The flight options were really pretty much trash trying to get to North Carolina. The layovers were between like 5 hours, and I even saw a layover that was like 21 hours, and yeah, so my options really weren't that great. This was my best option, but Charlotte Douglas Airport is definitely way more packed than JFK. There are a lot more people catching flights, a lot of people without their masks. And it's just so funny because they keep having messages over the intercom telling people to wear their mask, and it's just so funny to see how many people aren't wearing their masks around the airport. I know I'm not wearing my mask right now, but it's very difficult to talk to you guys with the mask on. It just sounds muffled and it's hard to breathe, but I am social distancing. I'm not really around anyone significantly close, so it's fine. I flew during the pandemic for the first time back in March, and you guys can see that vlog. I'll link somewhere up there that vlog when I went to Brazil. So I made it back to New York from Brazil just before the borders started to close and just before the stay-at-home order went in place. So like we just barely made it, but I still wore my mask that time around. A lot less people were wearing masks during that trip, and there were just significantly less restrictions at that point, obviously because cases weren't as high as they are now. But this time around we are required to wear a mask on the plane, whereas last time we were not. As far as actually booking the flight, I've been trying to book a flight to North Carolina since April. What the airlines are doing, they're restricting the amount of seats that they can fill on the flight. However, once they've reached capacity, they are not, I guess, removing the flights from the site, so people are still buying these flights. So basically they're overselling the flights and then trying to convince people to give up their seats with the promise of like basically $300 reimbursement that you can use on a future flight. Oh yeah, I booked a flight in April. That flight got canceled. Booked another flight at the beginning of May. That flight got canceled, and then I booked this flight. And I was really nervous that it was going to get canceled because when I booked this flight, the flight was pretty much full. And they sent me an email asking me if I would be willing to look into moving to another flight, but literally there were no other options for the dates that I chose. So yeah, I couldn't do that. And then they sent yet another email or another message saying that they would give me $300 to use for a future flight if I were to reschedule my flight. And so I believe the range was $300 up to $550 they were willing to give to passengers who were willing to move their flight. The process of getting to North Carolina was very stressful and difficult for me personally, and I been using one airline, so a lot of people suggest that I try like different airlines, but honestly I can admit I was being a bit frugal and wasn't willing to pay an extra like $300 with a different airline, so I just stuck with this specific airline, and thus far it's worked out. Hopefully I don't think my Charlotte to Raleigh flight is that full because I haven't gotten any notifications yet, but hopefully I can make it from Charlotte to Raleigh. During the actual boarding process, it was funny because the gate agents were telling everyone to stay 6 feet apart, but we were all getting on a flight where we were literally sitting inches away from each other, so it kind of like defeated the purpose of social distancing. There was really no social distancing on the flight. They tried to so originally I had a middle seat, and then I guess once some people were willing to reschedule their flights, they had enough empty seats open to where it was like every other seat was filled. So that middle seat they tried not to fill in most of the rows, but the flight was still like pretty full. And this one lady literally sat directly behind me and coughed the entire flight, so that was unsettling. Like, I was so irritated with her, but you know what? It is what it is. I chose to fly during this time. If anything happens, it's gonna be my fault, but God willing, I'm still in good health. I know I'm probably gonna get some comments like, you should be home, like why are you traveling during this time, yada yada yada. And honestly, number one, I miss my family. Number two, New York is starting to get warmer, and all of my warm summer clothes and spring clothes are home, and I need my clothes. Like, I don't want to go out and buy a whole new summer wardrobe, so really I'm coming home to bring all those clothes back to New York so that I'm not wearing turtlenecks and big jackets and thick hats for the rest of summer. There's so much going on in this world, and honestly I just need family loving, and I was willing to take that risk and take that flight. I did get tested for COVID, and my test came back negative. However, that's kind of irrelevant because you can get tested one day, and the moment you step out of the doctor's office, like, you can catch it. So even though your test came back negative, who knows, like, if you have it at this point. So getting tested at this point is kind of just like, I don't know. Just stay home, guys. I'm telling you to stay home as I am literally catching a flight to Raleigh. But yeah, because other than that, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry, guys. Thomasina eats first. But this burrito is delicious. I freaking love salsaritas. So it is June 1st and I am about to head back to New York. My family lives in like a very rural, basically a far secluded area in North Carolina, so there's not really any options for public transportation as far as like buses and like trains and stuff. So because my flight leaves at 6:50, I had to schedule an Uber yesterday, but the downside is the earliest that you can schedule an Uber is like 5:15 a.m. and I'm about 35 minutes from the airport. So the earliest really that I can get to the airport is by 6, which gives me like 40 minutes to get to the gate. But I think because of the coronavirus, Uber and Lyft have decreased the hours that drivers are operating. So normally, like, because I've called an Uber to the airport before, normally I can call an Uber earlier, but this time I think because of corona, they only start at like 5:30 a.m. So I scheduled my Uber yesterday, and they texted me this morning saying that my driver was about 26 minutes away, but then I just got another message saying that they switched my driver. Hopefully they get here on time, and hopefully I can get to the airport on time. And before y'all say anything and try to come for me, yes, I am pretty much wearing the same outfit, the same airport fit that I wore to North Carolina, and that's just because when I came to North Carolina, I came with an empty suitcase, and then I just packed all of my spring and summer attire, and I'm taking that back to me with New York, and the airport is usually pretty cold, and so this was the warmest outfit that I had, so I just put it back on. Whatever. So yeah, I'm pretty much just going to take you guys through the process of traveling back to New York to see if it's as easy, to see if the airports are as packed, to see if people are still not wearing their masks. And guys, because North Carolina is open, my eyebrow lady was actually still seeing clients, and so I was able to get my eyebrows done. If you remember in like not my last video, but the video before that, I attempted to do my own eyebrows and it just did not come out correctly. So my eyebrow lady attempts to do what she could to salvage my eyebrows. They're way thinner than I would like them to be, but I still feel refreshed and brand new. Now all I need is a haircut and we will be back in business.